Good afternoon, Valerie Milano, the senior editor of the Hollywood Times and Aspiring magazine. And I'm so happy to have our guest here today, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. Thank you again.
Hello, I'm Marissa Goldman, and I'm here to talk about my film, which I wrote and directed, called Max Distance.
Wonderful. Okay. So, voyeurism is a central theme in the film.
It
Were,
is.
yeah, were there specific, excuse me, were there specific films, directors, or psychological thrillers that influenced your approach?
Yeah, so I watched a bunch of voyeur films after I wrote it because, that's the whole world. So I rewatched Rear Window, of course, the classic, which is one of the best films of all time. Um, some like Brian De Palma films. Um, What else? I did a whole slew of them. I'm here in Palm Springs and it's a million degrees, so it's affecting my brain. It's cooked my brain. So I'm a little apologies if I'm a little slow. But yeah, some De Palma. There was I think that film like The Conversation. There's a couple of films that like um are sort of are voyeuristic with like listening in on people rather than watching them, which is the conversation. Then there's that one that um, there's one I think it's with John Travolta where he is like recording stuff and overhears um, a murder happen on a sound recording. That was one. I forget what that's called.
I do too, but I know
That
what you're talking about.
window is the big one.
Yeah, big one. So Max Distance is so rooted in isolation and obsession. What sparked the idea for Erica's character and her world?
Um, so obviously kind of coming out of the pandemic as part of that, it's a very post-pandemic film, but I had worked remotely for a long time. I had a corporate job that was totally remote. So there's a lot of inspiration from that. I I feel that as someone who's like very part of the comedy and film community, I luckily feel like I very much have community and I'm not like dealing with loneliness in the same way that I think other people are. But I do think that there's like a societal norm of us sort of being in our own little bubbles and being at home that we all experience, even if we have community. So there's just something very lonely about being home alone on your phone, um, and working from home. So I mean, yeah, it's as much as I have community, there's it like it's modern society. And what inspired the film initially was like kind of just walking around LA and looking into windows, but that's where the aspect of like working from home and kind of loneliness came in, was like thinking about those things.
Yeah, because Erica walks a fine line between loneliness and menace, really. The relationship between Erica and her boss, Devin, is hilarious and uncomfortable. Was that dynamic inspired by you, by your history, or by real remote work experiences?
So I worked at like a real estate agency for a while that was like totally remote. And it's just like if you have a corporate job, people use this jargon in a way that's like I just like thought was like so funny. Like I'm always like so I'm always fascinated by like um subculture, like jargon and subcultures, and the corporate stuff is just so funny to me. So I always wanted to like write dialogue with that, and I would just like as it was happening, sometimes I would film it and I would like write it down. And so a lot of Devin's character was really inspired by that. Um, and the dynamic, I mean, I'm not like Erica. I'm much chattier and more she's very shy. So um the dynamic wasn't from my real life, but I think there's elements of her that I was very shy growing up, so I think that is kind of like where I found that aspect or where I related to it.
Yeah, so Like, what does Erica see or think she sees in Nat that triggers her descent into manipulation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really just stems from weakness. I think that's the biggest thing is like she's so isolated, just like working from home and um not like I sort of assume she's on Tinder a lot, that she's not going on a ton of dates. Um and this she just I think has developed an obsession of him because he's like kind of right there and she can watch him.
Yeah.
And the manipulation, yeah, that's an interesting question. I think it's like I want people to, because she's like not she's a she does bad things, but I want people to empathize with her in some way and see that maybe like it's somebody following like maybe the worst instincts that we sometimes have that most of us would never follow, but it's like she like that's the kind of character I like. That's someone that will just follow an instinct that you would be like, why did I just have that thought? Like, of course I'm not gonna like follow, I don't know, follow somebody, watch after someone. Like you're like stalking them online and then you like feel creepy after like, 30 minutes and you stop. But she kind of just like kept going.
Was the role of Erica written with a particular performer in mind, or did you discover her during casting?
Oh, a particular actor. When I wrote it, I didn't have her in mind, but someone recommended her, and I was like, she just seems so perfect. And I reached out to her, and Anna, who plays Erica, is a hilarious stand-up. She's one of the Anna Saragina. So anyone watching, you gotta look her up. Um, we like had this conversation. I was like, so it is a comedic role, but it's like it's more serious, I think, than a lot of your other stuff. And she was like, sent me some. She's acted so much, so she sent me a lot of different things, and then we did like a sort of like a chemistry read with her and David, and it was just great. I was like, this is it. And I sort of I would go back in the script and tailor it to her a little bit more.
So I know from my research that this film has been to a lot of different film festivals, right? And so what kind of audience response are you hoping for? Or have you been hoping for laughter, discomfort, recognition?
Yeah, well, it's it's different every time. I mean, people laugh. I think during the date scene, it's people are really laughing. I think that there's various reactions for the first half of the film because it's very uncomfortable. So it's like some people are tense, but some people are just laughing. But the ideal reaction is when the audience is so invested that if they're like gasping or like I love that. Like when people are just like you can hear their reactions audibly outside of just the laughter.
Yeah. So to start kind of winding it down, because I know it's warm out here in Palm Springs, I want to be getting my swimming pool.
Oh my,
And I know that there's a little bit left of this film festival. What are you working on next, if you are? And will you consider exploring character-driven psychological stories more?
yeah. I have two different feature scripts in the works, and I'm kind of trying to see what gets made first. But yeah, I'm not going to make a feature version of this film, but it's like I would say like spiritual proof of concept of a feature because I will have the same style, similar world. Um, and I'm not sure if it will be, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of similar psychological elements, but it's like the dark comedy. I think like the aspect that I want to carry through the most is expanding on the visual language and have comedies that have like an emotional arc where you like it's funny, but it becomes deeper and like um there's more, I guess, meaning to it than just like a sketch.
Um, so how can our viewers and our readers find out more about you, about this film, social media or website? Let us know.
Yeah, I would say follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is the Media Witch underscore. Or if you search Marissa Goldman, I probably will come up. It's a handle I made in college, and it's stuck. But I thought about changing it, but it's just been too long. Um, and I'll update stuff on there. We're still doing our festival run, but it will be online eventually, and I will be posting about it incessantly. So yeah.
Yeah, something to be proud of for sure. So we're the Hollywood Times today is our website, and the Hollywood Times official is our YouTube channel. We're also aspiringmagazine.com, which is our hard copy. And I'm just so happy to meet you virtually. And I'm sure you will keep us in touch with anything else that you're going to do in the future. Please do.
Yeah, you froze for a second, but you came back. Yes, let's absolutely stay in touch. Thank you so much for interviewing me.
Great. Thank you for being at the Palm Springs Short Fest 2025. Okay. Talk to you another time, Marissa.
Bye. Thank you.